So today's something a little bit different. Not doing pedal stuff as much. Instead of going into some of our arrangement stuff we do. So this is a song called Dissonance that is essentially a power pop song, but we just deconstructed a bunch of things and threw in a bunch of real fancy little arrangement tricks that we use in a lot of songs, but definitely spread out in this one. So I'll just go through some of them. So we'll start with the beginning of the song. So the first little trick there is rhythmic displacement. So if you start at the beginning of the song, and this is the click track, we start on the downbeat. So 1, 2, 3, 4. And then right there, it flips around. And then I'm on a backbeat. And so the entire song flips around. So just me and Joe are doing that at the beginning. So if you count it, it goes 1, 2, 3, 4. So I'll play it again, and I'll just play the click track so you can hear the flip. So there's that. It's just a fancy little trick. There's a few... like a good example of it, there's a handful of Nirvana songs that start that way, like Very Ape, where he changes the kind of the accent of the chord. So in that one, it's something like, because the main riff goes, so it's like on the backbeat, but at the beginning of the song he goes, and then he like kind of turns it. It's very cool. So yeah, that's a trick we use once in a while just to be fancy. I use it later in the song too, after the first chorus. The next thing are chromatic chords. I really like chromatic chords. A good example outside of our stuff is Valoria by the Pixies. So if you look at the song, it sounds like it's just going... which is just power chords, but it's this cool thing where you're moving one note within the chord before you move the next note. So the way Valoria goes is, and then it gets in this cool like backwards. Which is pretty rad. I'm a huge Pixies fan. There's a Pixies logo on my arm here, so that's where I'm at with that. So here's how we use it in Dissonance. So it happens a couple times in there. So there's a little turnaround at the end of the verse, which is the first time I go to sort of a triad, because it just, I don't know, it has a little bit of color to it. It's more interesting to me. So if you go from the riff, it goes... So I go to the triad right there. And that's... I tend to do this too, of skipping a string, because it's really just the open string and the 4th fret. But I don't know. I've started playing chords this way. I do my dissonant chords that way too. I like the string skip and having the sort of muted string in between. But anyway, so there's that little turn right there, that, and then the turnaround to the chorus. Which the other thing that's cool about this part of the song is we play in C standard. So it's a regular guitar down 2.5 steps. Just sounds a little sludgy. The song is in C for the most part, but when it gets to the chorus, it starts on A. And the way we get to it is this turnaround. So the chords, if you're playing them straight, are which is like kind of awkward, but it works. So I'm like flat before the A, or what would be an A, and it's F in this key. But which is a kind of common thing. So in the scale, you would go like something like that in the sort of major key thing. But I kind of stick all the chromatics in between. So the way those chords break down, I'll go like this. It goes. So not only am I starting with the flat and already playing the beginning of the F chord, but when I get to the F chord, this note moves up too. Because it just has a little cooler flavor to it. And then same thing there. It's like a minor chord, and then I go to the major on the G. So it goes up to the A. So all around it goes. Which is like just a really uncommon way to get up to that chord, but it sounds, I don't know, it sounds very cool. So that's how we went with that. I'll play that once more. It goes. And it goes back down to the C. So yeah, that's that part. So the next bit that me and Moore do a lot is, which is something, for lack of a better example, I remember reading in Guitar World or Guitar Magazine when I was younger. Someone broke down H by Tool, and the bass, Justin Chancellor and Adam Jones swap lines on the verses on that song. So they do that sort of like, that's like the main bass line, and then the other guitar part, which is Adam Jones plays in the first verse, does this. So there's that. But then on the next verse, they swap. So then Justin Chancellor is doing that line on bass, and the guitar is doing which is very cool. So this is how we use it in this song. We use it in the chorus of the song. There's these octave chords, so I'll play that real quick. So what's happening is the chords in between the choruses, there's two lines. So the main riff that we're playing together is the first is the ascending one that goes, and then the other one starts up on the 9th fret, so it goes. So when you play them against each other, it goes. Nope, that's wrong. Right there. That's right. So they're unison an octave apart on the bottom note, and then unison again on the top. But you couldn't get these cool running lines against each other. That's a big thing we like to do. It happens a couple times in the song. The other little bit of that, I'll play it one more time just to show the end of it, is we do this thing where we drop a beat out of, there's like a little skip, so it doesn't stay strictly in 4/4, which we then double up at the end of the song. I'll show that, but here's that. So we drop out, and then there's that rhythmic displacement. Bum, bum, bum. So I'm like off the beat, and then the band locks all back into me. So what's happening there is we run that line twice, and we just cut it short by a beat. So it's because your ear wants to hear this. Wants to hear that, but instead we cut like a beat off of that one in the middle, so it's so there's that. So the next bit is we're returning to sections in the song, like the pre-chorus and the chorus, but the next time around, the bass line is doing the same thing, but the guitar part changes. So that's this right here. So still this. So bass line's still the same. And same on the chorus. Back in. So it's like a same thing. It's adding more flavor to the song and adds a little more tension. And the vocal, which isn't recorded on this yet because we're still recording this song, but the vocal changes along with it. So it's supporting the vocal. So instead of me doing the kind of stretch it out, so it's almost halftime. So it's so I can do this. And then instead of going to the chords, I get to play this cascading bit over what Moore is playing. And so when she gets down to the C, I'm actually playing a G against it, but just in octave chords. So that second part goes. And then we lock back in. It's also in that chorus that we switch the lines that we had swapped previously. So I'm playing the climbing one the first time, and Moore is playing the descending one. As opposed to the first chorus, we were doing them the opposite way. So that's what I mean when this song has just weird. There's a lot of little intricate things that are kind of unnecessary, and for us, it's how we wrote it, and we just kept mutating it and cutting away and changing little bits and pieces. And so this is where we're at. So the last bit is the very last chorus of the song. Is in the recording. I do it live a little bit. But the idea is stacking octaves in the guitars. So instead of just doing this chorus again, there's two guitars. I have the bass 6 that plays this A lower, an octave lower. So it gets way down to the sludgy chords. So it sounds like this. Here in the left speaker. So the way I do that live, and what one of the guitars is doing, is instead of it's sort of a happy medium between the two, but instead of playing the normal, like the full chords, because there's more happening with the vocal too, I'm playing these stacked power chords, and I go up the octave, so it's. And then we also do, because there's a drum fill, so we just all do it together. We do, instead of going, we go. And then I'll play it one more time, and you can hear the double beat drop at the very end of the song, which just adds a little more tension. And because Joe's doing the drum roll, it helps. It feels more final. So here's that again. Drop 1, drop 2. So because we're doing that build up, because I think initially we tried to do the drums with those drops, but it came even more complicated because we were just dropping on a weird beat for Joe. So the compromise would just have that drum roll, but it feels very big and final anyways. But so that end goes. So yeah, that's Dissonance. I hope some of this stuff is interesting. If you're digging these videos, subscribe or whatever, it helps. Or mention that I don't really like to hustle the I'm making content or whatever. But if you have any questions, put them in the comments. If you want to see something specifically broken down, let me know. Yeah, thanks for watching.